Good morning, troublemakers. It's Wednesday, February 23rd. Paul's in a hotel. I'm hanging out. We're only 3 weeks away from NADA, and we've got an Instagram account.
I go. The people really want to know who I is and who I be. They stop and stare when they see me. If it's said once, no need to repeat. Run up on me, watch you fall to your knees.
This is what I love about yesterday. Yesterday, Paul gets to Dallas. He goes into a restaurant, sees some dealers, and is like, yo, we need subscribers. Grabs some gift cards and starts tossing them on tables like they're candy. It was insane. And not just that, but Paul's in a hotel and struggling with the Wi-Fi hard this morning just to get rolling.
Can you even hear me right now?
Now I can hear you. Yes, you're in.
You sound like Jabba the Hutt because of this internet connection. It's the funniest thing I've ever heard in my life. It's like it's a
oh no.
I don't even know how we're gonna do this. I'll tell you what, I'm gonna call back in. You just run with the show. I'm gonna try to find somewhere else that I could actually call in for phone.
We'll just run with the show. I'm gonna get the phone hooked up. Here it comes. Hey, look, when you're running and gunning like we are, we always have some fun. You never know what's gonna happen. So today, Paul is out in Dallas, Texas. He's staying at the Great Wolf Lodge with friends and family and a bunch of automotive people out there. And he's even got in the background something where if you wave a magic wand, then things happen and kids are going crazy everywhere. So ton of fun, but we've got a lot to talk about today. And one of those big things, Paul, can you hear me now? Looks like your internet's rocking and rolling. No, he can't. If you're watching on the live stream,
working on it. I'm working on it.
What is happening right now? But we've got a lot to talk about today. And so flying solo for just a minute. Obviously with NADA 3 weeks out, we have had some conversations with the people that we're working with to bring you a lot of the content that if you can't go, because obviously we've got typically NADA, you get 35,000 people out there in Vegas, but there's a whole swath of our industry, and you may be one of them that can't be there. And there's so much exciting, so much news, so many conversations around OEMs and what's happening in this year and new products and new thought processes and thought leadership. And we've kind of got everyone in the same room. So what we're going to do is just provide you the access to some of the things that are going on, whether it be on social media or through articles that we're going to write. So we've got all of that heading and the energy is picking up toward that. So just be on the lookout. Make sure and follow us. We've got an Instagram account, Facebook account, even on TikTok at ASOTU. So we're trying to push into what the kids are into. And I guess not just the kids, but everybody now. Paul and I are just late to the game. So find us there. But, looks like we got Paul coming in. He's calling. Are you there?
Yo,
what's up? We were talking NADA. This is like phone call Friday, but with Paul.
Because my internet was terrible. Let's talk about NADA because we've been doing nothing but talking about it for the last 2 weeks.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So we've been talking about it on the back channels, and I was just kind of telling the crew out there while you were trying to find a better spot, just who we're bringing. We've got a whole crew. We've got videographers, audio people, editors. We've got a writing crew on tap to just really be. Our goal is to be, like we've talked about, to be the talk of the town, like the man on the street of, the thought leaders or the new products or the ideas that are coming out of that for, the whole industry, because there's 2.5 million people in the industry and only 30,000 people go to NADA, right?
Right. Exactly. I was with last night. So I'm speaking today in Dallas at a dealer event, Glenn Lundy's Rise and Grind event. And we were in a room last night with about 50 dealers. And Glenn is announcing the speakers, and I didn't know if you knew this, Kyle, but Liza's here. It's pretty awesome. So
that's great.
Yeah, so I was
She's
kind of
awesome.
surprised. I didn't realize she was going to be there. Got to spend some time with Liza Borges, but we were there, and he's going around and introducing the speakers for tomorrow. She's one of them too, and he's like, "Hey, and how many people know Paul J. Daly?" Right? And it was like 20%, and that got me so excited. It got me so excited because like we roll in similar circles most of the time, right? Friends and people tend to stay connected and stay together.
Right.
But to realize there are just so many people out there that haven't even heard about what we're doing with Automotive State of the Union and how we're trying to organize to bring people together and how we're trying to bring the innovators together to realize like, oh, I'm not the only one that thinks like this. It's pretty fascinating.
Yeah. What I think is interesting too is like one of our big desires is for people to share this, right? And to not keep it hidden. I think a lot of times especially in like the executive side of the industry, it's kind of like, hey, I'll hold on to this till my team is ready to hear it, and I'll pass on the information. And our real desire is like, no, like right when if something sparks you or something, something about the email or the podcast is like, more people need to know about this. We're kind of leaning on you, if you're watching or listening, to share it. Because we can't be in all places. It's like Paul, you just said, you've got a room full of people that a lot of people that know you, but a ton of people don't. And so it's everyone's responsibility to wrap our arms around the industry. It can't just be left up to two people, right?
Not at all. Not at all. Yesterday, if you don't follow us on Instagram, we're up and we're live at Automotive State of the Union. Yesterday, I brought my family on this trip and we were having breakfast in this like Texas breakfast place. It was awesome.
Probably so good.
And it was unbelievable. It was like life-changing good. Like, so this is how they do it in Texas.
Right.
And so like this group of car guys walked in. I think they were with Mercedes, and I think there were a couple manufacturer reps and a couple dealers, and they walked in. I was like, oh, these are my people. And so I literally, it's just still on the Automotive State of the Union. There's a post about it. And I was like, I'm going to tell them about what we're doing and give them some gift cards. And so I did. My wife is just rolling her eyes. She's like, that's what he does. That's what he does. I'm like, hey, I know you haven't heard about me. I know you don't know what you're doing, but you should. Here's some gift cards. Here's the website. I'll see you at NADA. So Kyle and I are grinding out the ground game too, because it has to happen. Yeah. It has to be done.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, let's get in some news. We've got a little bit of good industry news this morning. Stellantis kind of came out with what happened for them in 2021, right? As far as earnings, and Stellantis was up 3x 2021 over 2020, getting their net profit up to $15.2 billion for the year. They don't publish quarterly results because of where their headquarters are, but for an automaker to be up like that, especially an automaker that really leaned into subscriptions, into investing in relationships with the same company that actually builds the iPhones, investing in relationships with Amazon, right? They and pre-market this morning, the shares had jumped 6%. So an auto manufacturer recognizing some similar profit gain to what dealers are seeing in their local markets as well.
I mean, who would have thought like 2 years ago, right? Stellantis was kind of a mess.
Yeah.
They have a long way to go, but I mean, they definitely have recalibrated themselves. They've definitely shown that they're not like they're in the fight. They're in the fight. They're willing to do things differently. Granted, it's been controversial, some of the things they've been doing and some of the things they've been saying, one side and the other side. So it's not all peaches and cream, but at the same time, like I was surprised. They definitely surprised me. I was like, well, we'll see what happens with that. But I guess we're seeing what happens with that.
Yeah. And I think one of the interesting things was the CFO was kind of stating that, there's a lot of questions on what retailers, whether it be automotive or outside of automotive, are going to have the biggest impact from some of the tension in Russia, Ukraine, and that they are one of the auto manufacturers that they're saying have less volatility based on that relationship because there's not a lot of sourcing from those areas. So I think that's, we talk about like, what's your supply chain management? Where are you capturing all of that from? And the people with the supply chain management, like Tesla, that have it down are going to continue to win into this year. And it sounds like that's their reality too.
For sure. Speaking of public values.
He got a segue on the phone. What a guy.
I had to delay it a little bit just so you heard it coming.
Right.
This article today popped. Volkswagen is in advanced talks over a Porsche IPO, so spinning off the Porsche brand to make an IPO and to raise cash to lean into their EV initiative. Like everybody's seeing Tesla values, everybody's seeing this EV value, and I guess the scramble is on like how we're going to get as much cash as possible to jam into this initiative. So as soon as they do, just like everyone else, right? What year, Kyle? What year do you think they're going to announce EV dominance by?
100%. They're talking about by 2030, we're going to have a large percentage. By 2035, 100%. And by 2040, it's all over. We're going to own this whole space, right?
People are going to give us EVs, right?
Right. Yeah, no. So I think it's interesting that that they are leveraging the brand of Porsche to potentially provide cash flow for the rest of their brands and their R&D. But I really think that you've got a really rich, target rich environment. There was some talks about how I think Ferrari came to market, and over the past 5 years, their stock price has skyrocketed over 400%. Right. So a niche brand with a high profit margin could probably lead to the same thing. And investors feel the same way because VW stocks immediately saw a jump as well. So
it's like 10% immediately.
Yeah. The market understands how automakers leaning into EV production is an opportunity for high growth yield. So yeah. For sure. Speaking of high growth,
segue.
I think we're talking about the wrong kind of growth.
Oh man, yeah, and this is high growth and not the way we particularly want to see it. At least as consumers, right? There are good and bad things to the growth of the cost of oil right now, and oil just recently hit.
So, okay, hold on. You just said there are good things about it. What are those good things?
Well, from a total economic standpoint, right? You've got there are margins and profit margins to be had at higher growth because percentages of cost. Every gas station is based on percentage of cost is their markup. So if it doesn't have a ceiling, and if consumer demand meets the market price, then all of a sudden you don't have an issue. But the minute that the market price exceeds consumer demand and people start buying gas at a lower level or start buying a lower level of, the low gas mileage vehicles, all of a sudden the market impacts in the wrong way. Right. That's what we saw. That's what we saw back in 2010 to 2012 range when gas prices skyrocketed. We saw truck purchasing go way down in the market. High priced SUVs with low gas mileage go way down. So I think that's the potential impact of this, as the average gas prices in America are up over like $1.30. I think the report was just a couple of days ago, year over year. So think about that, man. What that is
I think about it.
Yeah, you're like
every time I'm at the pump.
You're like, I have
this big SUV. I was like, we crossed $100 the other day, and I was like, oh my God, we're there. We're there.
You start thinking about the trips you're making. You start thinking about, should I be in an EV, right? I mean, I filled up our van. We have a van. And I was thinking, man, should I think about like leasing an EV van at some point, right? That was heavy on my mind for sure.
So I cut you off, but you were probably going to talk about Ukraine. What's going on over there.
Well, and that's the reason why the oil prices are happening. So Russia kind of like went into some areas where they felt were, areas that were easy to attack and put troops in Ukraine. And so you've got some movement there. Comes 2 days after the Olympics end. So there's some, question marks around that in world economics and world politics. So, I think that there's a lot of volatility on like sanctions and whether or not they're going to be imposed from whether it be the US or world organizations, but definitely some tensions rising there that are leading to, increased oil prices and increased prices of a lot of goods, right? The ability to import export. So from a large country.
For sure.
Well, cool. Well, hey, we're running out of time. You've got to get to some places this morning.
I do. Follow along. I'll try to post the Automotive State of the Union Instagram stories.
We hit a ton of news this morning, but it is Hump Day. We are headed into the end of February, rolling into March. We've got things to do today. We're talking NADA. Paul is communicating today with a ton of dealers and just getting his hands dirty. So we know you're going to get your hands dirty today too. Let's go.
Everywhere I go, the people really want to know who I is and who I be. They stop and stare when they see me. If it's once, no need to repeat. Run up on me, watch you fall to your knees. Tip my hat when it's time for the kill. Ain't no beast when you're really real. I am the boss, I am the dawn.